Good morning, Meenakshi ma'am.
Good morning, Meenakshi ma'am.
Shamim sir, please start.
Good morning to one and all present here. Today is the third day of this online lecture series, which is being organized by 6 collaborating colleges. It is for the students of Major English Semester 4. Now today, we have another eminent resource person, Dr. Meenakshi Kulkarni ma'am. So, I heartily welcome you ma'am on this platform. But before she begins her lecture, let me introduce her. Dr. Meenakshi Kulkarni ma'am is presently working as an associate professor at LED College. Her fields of interest are Irish literature, post-colonial studies, and writing in English. Today, she is going to deliver her talk on the topic KESARIMAL at Banaras, written by Betty Renshaw. So, I request ma'am that the platform is open for you. Now you can start your lecture. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, Shamim sir. With your permission, can I please share my screen?
Yes, ma'am, yes.
Is my PPT visible?
Yes, madam, it is visible.
Yes, ma'am, it is visible.
Thank you for your kind words, Shamim sir.
Thank
A
you.
very good morning to all the esteemed organizers of the online lecture series for BA Semester 4 and to the collaborating institutions VASANTRAO NAIK Government Institute of Arts and Social Science, MANOHARRAO KAMDI Mahavidyalaya, SETH KESARIMAL PORWAL College, Dr. M.K. UMATHE College RENUKA College, BESA, and RAJKUMAR KEWALRAMANI, KANYA Mahavidyalaya for thoughtfully organizing this enriching lecture series for the academic advancement and holistic benefit of the students. Today, I'll be talking on the topic, the sermon at Banaras. Actually, this particular chapter has a very in-depth study which Gautam Buddha has given us. Basically, it tells us about the mystery of life and death, which has always puzzled us, and losing our loved ones fill us with grief. This particular chapter and lesson, the sermon at Banaras, teaches us that death is the ultimate truth, as every living being born on this earth must die one day. The author, Betty Renshaw's, it has been extracted from the, Betty Louis Renshaw Barber was born in Shamson, Mississippi on September 3rd, 1927 to P.C. and Lillian Renshaw. She was an American author and educator whose work in rhetoric and moral education has reached classrooms across the world. She studied at Mississippi College and later got a Master's of Arts from Mississippi University for Women before embarking on a career as a teacher and later as a trainer for teachers, particularly in early childhood education. She taught at the preschool level for several years and eventually she was able to pass her experiences on to others by teaching at preschool, by organizing many preschool training for the preschool teachers. Betty married Joseph Henry Barber Jr. on December 23rd, 1950, and they were happily married for 61 years. She's best known as the compiler and editor of the influential Values and Voices, a college reader which was published in 1975, from which the sermon at Banaras is taken. It has been influential in reflections on sufferings, detachment, and compassion in modern civic life. The sermon at Banaras, written by Betty Renshaw, narrates the transformation of Gautama Buddha from a prince to an enlightened teacher. Witnessing human suffering, he renounced worldly pleasures, attained enlightenment at Bodh Gaya, and delivered his first sermons at Banaras on the banks of the Ganges. Gautam Buddha was born into a North Indian royal family as Prince Siddharth Gautama. At 12, he was sent away to study sacred scriptures and returned 4 years later. Initially, we had this Gurukul system, and only those people who were born in royal families, they could have this privilege of getting themselves educated. So Prince Siddharth was amongst those privileged ones. Now education is for everyone, but in those days it was not that easy to get educated. So he was sent to the Gurukul. Then subsequently he married a princess and they had a son. And for nearly a decade, he lived a sheltered royal life, largely protected from the sufferings of the world. He had no idea that there were sufferings, there was old age, there was poverty, all these things. He was kept away from the realities, the facts of life, which a royal prince, he didn't know anything about. But one day, during an outing session, the prince encountered a sick man, an old man, a funeral procession, and a wandering monk. These sights really struck him. Like he was absolutely unknown to these things. He didn't know that old age happened. He knew only the like, I can just give an example. In social media, we have this real life and this fake life. The influencers, most of the influencers, they portray a fake life. With a lot of filters, they portray things. So in those days, like, he was kept away in that ivory tower. Like, he was not used to all these things. He didn't know that old age, when a man or a woman is born, he or she has to face old age. He didn't know about poverty. He didn't know that people don't even have enough money to eat. But all these things he was kept away from, because when at the time of a birth of a royal prince or a princess, they show the birth chart. The astrological calendars are shown to the royal priest, and it was the royal priest had profited that this particular person, this prince, he will be a monk. So the king and the queen, they were very they were taken aback. They said, now we will keep our dear Siddharth, Prince, away from all these things. We will not show the real world to the prince, and he was kept aside from all these things. He was only shown the luxurious life. He was only given the best of everything, and he was kept away from reality. So when he saw these sights, the old monk, the funeral procession, like he didn't know that when a person is born, he has to die. This also was kept away from him. And a monk, because why a monk becomes a monk? Because he wants to give up all the worldly possessions of life. So he was wondering, okay, why this monk is also there. So the reality, like our days reality, real world, and the social media world, that is different. In those days, he was kept away from reality, kept in the ivory tower of his lovely palace, and he didn't know all these sufferings occurred in real life. These sights awakened him to the realities of sufferings, prompting him to renounce royal life in search of spiritual truth. So the prophecy was coming true. After attaining enlightenment, he began preaching, delivering his first sermon at Banaras. Among those influenced by his teaching was Kisa Gautami, a grieving mother whose son had died and who wandered in desperate search for a remedy to restore him to life. He wandered in search of truth for 7 years before meditating beneath a peepal tree, where he attained enlightenment after 7 days. Thereafter, the tree became known, famous as the Bodhi tree. That means the tree of wisdom. Following this spiritual awakening, he began to teach and share his insights and came to be known as the Buddha. Buddha delivered his first sermon in the city of Benares, regarded as the holiest pilgrimage sites on the banks of the river Ganges. The sermon embodies his profound insight into the human nature, then human suffering, and the path to overcome it. The mysteries of life and death have long perplexed humanity, and the loss of a loved one brings profound sorrow. This lesson conveys the truth that death is an inevitable part of existence. It recounts the early life of Gautam Buddha and his first sermons at Banaras. It also narrates the story of a grieving mother who, after losing her son, appealed to Buddha to restore him to life. See, a mother's love for the son is shown in this particular story. She was so much overwhelmed, she overcome by grief stricken, because that was her only prized possession in life, and she requested him to restore him back to life, because in reality these things never happen. Through wisdom and compassion, he helped her understand the universality and inevitability of death. This chapter recounts the story of Kisa Gautami, a grieving mother who through the Buddha's teaching comes to understand that death is universal and grief must be accepted with wisdom. It highlights key Buddha's principles such as impermanence, suffering, and detachment as essential paths to inner peace and spiritual understanding. Written in clear and didactic prose, the text serves as an important introduction to Buddhist philosophy and comparative spirituality, particularly for students in South Asia. The Buddha delivered his first sermon at Banaras, the sacred city on the banks of the river Ganges, where he expounded his wisdom on the nature of human suffering. That means humans have come to this earth, so it's not only a bed of roses. He or she is bound to suffer. I can resonate this philosophy with this movie, Kabhi Khushi Kabhi Gum. It just came to my mind. It's not always a bed of roses. Sometimes you have happiness, sometimes you are bound with grief. This is the philosophy of life. It cannot be always a straight line. A straight line, even on the monitor, shows that you are dead. When it is up and down, that means you are alive. So, and this is the actual truth of life. That means when you are born, you have to die. When you have sorrow, a very sorrowful phase, a very difficult patch in your life, you will have a very smooth phase. So it's not always constant. Things keep on changing. This is what he gave the sermon at Banaras, the enlightened Lord Buddha. The chapter also narrates the story of Kesa Gautami, whose only son had died. Overwhelmed by grief, she carried the child from house to house in search of medicine. She was very optimistic, positive that the dead child will rise out of his death. We are forgetting that everyone can't be Jesus Christ, who will resurrect from, like, after being crucified on Good Friday. He resurrected on the day of Easter, the Sunday. But then it's not true for every human being. This is for all natural human being. This is the natural law of life. Born and death, birth and death. When others informed her that the child was dead, a compassionate man directed her to the Buddha, believing that he alone could guide her in sorrow. The Buddha, when Kesa Gautami went to the enlightened one, he answered, he demanded only a very small thing. I want a handful of mustard seed, but it comes with a disclaimer. And the girl, she was very happy. Okay, I only have to get a handful of mustard seed. And then he said, Kesa Gautami, she was very happy. She said, I'll procure it. But he added, the mustard seeds must be taken from a house where no one has lost a child, husband, parent, or friend. That means in that household, death should have never approached his deadly cold claw in that particular household. No death should have occurred in that house. Poor Kesa Gautami now went from house to house, and the people pitied her and said, here is mustard seed, take it. But when she asked, did a son or daughter, a father or mother die in your family? They answered, alas, the living are few, but the dead are many. Do not remind us of our deepest grief. And there was no house, but some beloved had died in it. So this is the actual reality of life. Kesa Gautami became weary and hopeless and sat down at the wayside, watching the lights of the city as they flickered up and were extinguished again. So she gave a pause and then she thought, looking to the wearing light, when we lit a lamp, the lamp is there till the oil is there in the lamp. Once the oil disappears from the lamp has to flicker and die out. The same thing happened with her son. The same thing happens with all human beings. When they are born, some born as, suppose when they are born, maybe they can live up to 1, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, as in the case with Kisa Gautami's son. Some live up to 10, 15, 20 years, some 30, 40. We never know. The date of birth is fixed. The date of death is also fixed, but it is hidden. We never know. So whenever the date of birth is there, the date of death is also there. So this she understood the hard way. When she went begging from home to home, asking for just a few mustard seeds, but Gautam Buddha, the enlightened one, he had given the instruction that the mustard seed should come from a home which has seen no death in the family. So that is impossible. So at last, the darkness of night regained everywhere, and she considered the fate of men, that their lives flicker up and are extinguished again. And she thought to herself, how selfish I am in my grief. Death is common to all, yet in this valley of desolation, there is path that leads him to immortality, who has surrendered all selfishness. The Buddha said, the life of mortals in this world is troubled and brief and combined with pain, for there is not any means by which those have not been born can avoid dying. After reaching old age, there is death of such a nature as living beings are definitely born to die. As ripe fruits are early in danger of falling, so mortals when born are always in danger of death. As all earthen vessels made by the potter end up being broken, so is the life of mortals. As I told you about the flickering lamp, which will die out once, what happens? Once the oil is extinct. So then that lamp also becomes gone, the flickering light. So the potter might have made a very beautiful lamp, a beautiful pot, but in the end, one day it has to, this is the philosophy of materialism. Everything which is created has to come to an end. All things. So both young and adult, both those who are fools, those who are wise, those who all fall into, they will all opportunity to interact with this lovely audience. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Okay. I take your leave.
Okay. So tomorrow we are going to meet at the same time, at the same place. Thank you. Have a good day. See you tomorrow.